All right, welcome everyone. I guess first, maybe I can check if you can hear me okay. Hopefully you can hear me okay. But yeah, if you'd like to put that in the chat, if you can hear me, that would be great. Different environment, different setup. Yeah, so hopefully everything's working okay for that. So yeah, the start of the year of the wood snake. We did some sessions a little while ago just for the new year, and in those we focused on the elements of wood and water, and we focused on them very much from an elemental quality. But one of the things in Chinese practices is there is lots of imagery and symbolism used, and so different animals have a relationship with different with different elements as well. And so this time our practice is still going to have this wood and water focus, but with the water practices we're going to specifically focus on snake. So rather than just the element of water, things that connect more strongly to the animal of the snake to go in with this theme of the Chinese New Year. We're also going to do some other practices that have a really water focus to them. So we're going to do part of a sequence of practices known as waking the Qi, for activating our energy. We're just going to do the first part of that. But in the first part of those practices, we focus a lot on the kidneys and on the spine and on activating the energy there. And that's a good thing to do anyway, but of course these tie in very much with the water element. So in this session, we're going to do those practices from a seated position, and then after that, we're going to progress to standing. And this is one of those things where, in a sense, sometimes being seated makes a practice easier, and then sometimes it can actually make it a bit more challenging in some ways as well, depending on what's going on within your body, within your mobility. Most of us are fine sitting in chairs, and that will make it easier. But a lot of us in this day and age actually find it more challenging to sit on the ground because of mobility issues. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing to do. It's really good. It's really good to regain that ability to sit on the ground. So before we get into the actual practices, I'm going to just go over a little bit about some things for doing these practices seated. The first part. Later on, the rest of the practice is going to be done standing. So a few options for sitting on sitting. So you can sit in a chair if you wish for this beginning part. So this is a stool. Stools are actually really good to sit on for Qigong practices because they let your body move freely in all directions, which, that can make things easy. If you're sitting in a chair, you want to sit away from the back of the chair so that you can, again, you're not too restricted by what's behind you, you're not leaning on that if possible. So that's going to be one option. Now, being in the seated position, there is going to be a movement that we're going to do. I'm going to be sitting on the floor, and just so you know how to do this one movement from a chair, we're going to do a movement where we turn our hips side to side. And in the chair, it's not too hard to figure out how to do this, particularly if you're towards the edge of your chair. Basically, you just open your legs up a little bit and just turn them side to side as much as you can. We're going to be able to do it more strongly on the ground. Okay, I'll put this out of the way. And okay, so a couple of options for sitting on the floor. So one is going to be to kneel, and this is the option that I'm going to use. It won't be too hard to see how to do the movements differently if you sit differently, but this is the one that I'm going to use. And then the other option is going to be to sit cross-legged. And again, you can do the movements easily enough in a cross-legged position as well, whatever's comfortable for you. As we transition to that movement, I said we were going to turn our hips side to side from a cross-legged position. Simply you step one foot out and the other foot out, and then you're going to be ready to do it. And I'm going to show you how to do it from a kneeling position. All right, so with that out of the way, I think we might as well begin. So find yourself into a seated position, whichever one you choose, whether that be kneeling or cross-legged or sitting in a chair or stool. And we'll begin our practice session. And we'll begin by just taking a few moments to just relax, clear your mind, relax your body. Taking a few moments to just really tune in to the senses of your body. Feel your body. Bring your awareness in from whatever else you've been thinking about, whatever you've been doing, right to the present moment. And be aware of every part of your body. Your feet, your legs, your pelvis, your abdomen, your chest, your back, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your neck, your head. Be aware of every part of your body. And then also particularly be aware of your breath. Feel the movement of your breath through your body. As you inhale, feel the way your breath gently causes your body to expand and rise, stretching it from within. And as you exhale, feel the way your whole body relaxes and sinks back inwards. Steady, relaxed breaths, feeling the movement of the breath in the body. And as we allow the whole body to expand and contract with the breath, naturally this allows our energy to start to flow more freely. And we'll begin with our first movement. So we take a deep breath in, and then we breathe out, folding forwards, bringing our head towards the floor. And we breathe in, sitting back up. So we breathe out, folding forwards. Of course, you won't go as far forwards if you're sitting in a chair, but just bend forwards to wherever you can. And breathe in, coming back up. Breathe out, coming forward. So this movement gently opens up our lower back, stretching, lengthening the muscles there. Breathe out, then reactivates the muscles as we sit back up. Breathe out, opening the lower back. Breathe in, activating those muscles, bringing us upright. Breathe out. Now, of course, as we do this, psychologically, this position of bowing forwards has an association with humility. So by physically doing this, it helps us to enter a state of feeling more humble. And that's a really healthy way to be, to feel, when we're looking at new beginnings, a new year. An aspect of humility is going to help us in bringing our energy fresh into the new year. We'll do this just a couple more times. Breathe out as we fold forwards, releasing tension in the lower back. Breathe in, bringing fresh energy into the lower back. One more. And back up. From here, opening our arms to the sides, and we press our palms outwards. Turn the hands up. We breathe in, raise the hands so the heels of the hands touch. Breathe out, lower them back down to shoulder height. Breathe in, raise up. Breathe out, lower back down. Breathe in and out. So with this movement, we gently open up through the mid-back. You feel a gentle stretch from the base of your spine up to your shoulders. And breathe out, activate those muscles. Breathe in and out. And naturally, this position of raising our hands Psychologically, we associate this with gratitude or with praise. So we bring this into our mind, into our energy. Again, this is a really healthy beginning for our energy, going fresh into a new year, combining humility with gratitude and with praise. And opening up the spine physically. We'll do one more. Breathe in and breathe out. From here, leaving our arms at shoulder height, we now turn, looking to the middle finger of one hand and then beyond. Turn, look to the middle finger of the other hand and then beyond. And turn, and turn, and turn. With this movement, we loosen the muscles of our upper back and neck, getting the energy flowing through these as well. We're also exercising the muscles of our eyes so we can see more clearly all around us. Again, as we prepare our body, our energy for our new perspective on the new year. Bring your head back to the front, lowering your hands. As we lower our hands, we're going to make loose fists. We're going to bring them into our lower back and we're going to knock up and down either side of the spine, using this vibration from the knocking to stimulate our kidneys, again, up and down over the lower back, but also specifically up and down the spine, all the nerves coming out from the spine, activating that energy through our spinal cord. From here, we'll open our hands wide, coming up to our head, and we'll knock forwards and backwards over the head, bringing that energy from our spine, from our kidneys, all the way up to our head. We'll open our hands wide. This time bringing our hands into our lower back, and we're going to rub with the backs of the hands up, palms of the hands down. So we breathe in, rubbing up, breathe out, palms rubbing down. Breathe in, rubbing the backs of the hands up, breathe out, palms down. Creating some warmth, stimulating the flow of blood into this area around the lower back, all the muscles around the spine. And then from here, we open our hands wide, coming up to the base of our skull on our neck. We're going to massage the muscles either side of the neck, squeezing and releasing. An important area here between our neck and our head, where sometimes the energy gets blocked. And so we want to activate the energy here, loosen the energy, so the energy can flow freely up between our body and our head. And then we'll rub our hands forwards over our head and face, and back, and forwards, and back. Again, bringing the blood flow all the way up into the neck, the head, the face, and forwards, and back. Then we'll open our hands wide. So once more, we're going to bring our hands into our lower back. This time just placing your palms on your lower back. We'll just pause here and breathe and feel the way our lower back expands and contracts under our palms as we breathe. Feel the way the energy from our hands naturally flows into the lower back to support our kidneys, supporting our water element, supporting the base of our energy, giving us fresh, clean water energy to support the rest of our energy through our energy system. Then opening your hands wide. This time as we come up to our head, we don't touch the surface of our body. We're just going to use the energy that naturally radiates from our hands and guide this forwards and backwards over our head, over our face. Letting this energy Gently massage with the energy deep into our brain, refreshing, renewing the energy in our brain. And then from here, we'll open our hands, bringing them down, this time bringing them in front of our body, palms facing up. And we'll turn the top hand down. You may feel some energy between your hands at this point, or you may not, that's fine. But if you feel that energy between your hands, we're now going to turn it over and turn and turn and turn, getting that energy that we've activated up and down our spine, bring that energy into our center, the center of our body, get it turning, moving, rolling, flowing, ready to spread out into every part of our body. And from here, what we'll actually do is we're just going to bring our hands onto our abdomen, bring the energy right into the center. We're going to do a little bit of a different transition than we would normally do in this sequence now. We're going to do that movement I said where we're going to open our hips side to side. So if you're on your knees, you simply need to shift your weight across to one side so you can bring your pelvis onto the floor, and from there you can bring your feet forwards. And you're going to have your feet about shoulder width apart. Wherever you are, if you're sitting cross-legged, unfold your feet to this position. Now ideally for this movement we want to do it sitting up. If you need to, you can lean back on your hands, and we're just going to tip our knees across to one side, turning our hips to one side, and then tip them across to the other side and across to the other side. We're getting a gentle stretch through the hips themselves, but then particularly you might notice that this comes up into our lower back, the area around our waist. Again, stimulating those nerves out of the lower back, gently massaging the kidneys. Again, ideally we'll do this just sitting up. It becomes a little bit more challenging, so you can try that if you like. But this is getting some activity into our hips, into our lower back. And we often do this type of movement combined with some more challenging ones, specifically for the snake, to get the movement in the spine fluid, to get the hips moving freely, and again to stimulate that water element energy from the kidneys. We're not going to do the more challenging ones today. We're just going to do this one, getting our water active and flowing. Okay, we'll go once more to the other side. And then from here, we're just going to bring our knees back up. I'll move backwards a little bit so I stay in the camera. And we're going to bring our feet in as much as we can. And we're going to hug our knees. And we're just going to sit here for a moment. And as you sit here, you can rock side to side a little. If you're able to, you can rock forwards and back a little bit. That might be a little bit hard. For now, we'll rock side to side. So back to our elemental relationships. The water element feeds into and strengthens the wood. So we've done a whole lot of practices working with our kidneys, our spine, opening our hips. So these all relate to the water element. And so now we're going to transition. We're going to do a little bit of focus on the wood element. And this first position is the position of a seed. And we're going to activate the seed. At the moment, the seed's just sitting. We're not moving too much side to side, but we're going to activate this seed, germinate this seed to bring the energy out of it into some nice healthy wood. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to come up onto our feet. Now, you might need to use your hands for this to press yourself forwards so you can come up onto your feet. And I'll do this side on. It might be easier for you to see. You might come all the way up onto the balls of your feet, but keep yourself wrapped around your knees. And then from here, we're going to rock back onto the heels, forwards onto the ball of the foot, back onto the heels, forwards onto the ball of the foot. And as we do this, this is like a seed rocking as it prepares to germinate. All that energy inside, pushing outwards to the surface, ready to rise upwards. And so as we come backwards and forwards, again we feel even more opening in our lower back, and there's naturally this pressure to start to rise upwards. When we're ready to rise upwards, we bring the backs of our hands together, we turn them over and extend up and open to the side. I'll face back to the front now. So if you want to do this more gently, you can just stand and do this. So we inhale, exhale, the chute rises and opens to the side. If you want to do it stronger, we squat down, backs of the hands come together, inhale, exhale, that fresh young plant coming out of the seed, rising upwards. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Fresh, new wood energy, soft, supple, rising upwards, rising to meet the sun. We'll do it one last time. And this time as we come upwards, we're going to let our wood mature. So we'll open our arms to the sides, like branches, again, facing upwards to the sun. Our palms, our arms receiving the energy from heaven. And you can just keep your feet like this. To make it a little more challenging, cross one foot across in front. Or otherwise, to make it even more challenging, bring one foot across the knee, open the hip. I'm going to leave mine on the ground here. And we just sway, side to side, like a fresh young tree, swaying in the wind, strong, upright energy, but still flexible. And as you do this movement side to side, you might feel the gentle stretching, opening through the sides of your body, where the gallbladder meridian runs. You might feel a gentle upwards flow of energy from the earth up through your body. At the same time, you might feel a downwards flow from that energy we receive from the sun, from heaven, coming downwards. We'll bring our hands together, back in front of the body, and we will repeat on the other side. So crossing back the other way, extending your hands upwards and open wide, and again sway side to side, gently stretching, massaging the sides of the body, letting that wood energy flow so it doesn't become stuck, doesn't become old and stiff and brittle like old wood. By having this sway, we can have that strong rising energy, but still keep it supple, moving and flowing. Healthy wood energy. Again, bringing your hands back together, coming down to the center of your chest, stepping your feet back, shoulder width apart. From here, I'm actually going to move this little mat to the side for our next movements as we transition into some snake movements. I'm also going to step a little bit off to the side to begin with. So, we've activated our energy with the waking the chi, activating the kidneys, the spine, opening the hips a little. We've now brought our wood energy, we've risen our wood up, which has brought us to a standing position. As we've just been a tree, we're now going to work with some classic snake movements. Actually, I've come back to the center to begin with, to really make our snake, our body more like a snake. Get that fluid flowing sense of the snake energy through us. So from here, we'll bring our hands together and push our palms up, and we'll twist our whole body to one side and to the other side. So lengthening the whole body and getting a twist through the whole body. Gentle twist, lengthening the body, opening the body up so we can be long and flexible, like a snake. And from here we're going to move into some snake rolls. So lowering our hands, palms down. If you want to do this gently, you can just stay standing and then open the hands forwards and away. So the palms come down and then they open forwards and away. If you want to do this more strongly, we bring the rest of our body in. So as we lower our hands, we then allow our whole body to sink down and then open the hands away and down. So we start to get a rolling motion through our whole body, our arms, through our torso, our spine, down into our hips. Getting a fluid rolling motion. And then we'll change directions. Again, if you want to do this gently, you can just stay standing. Just use the arms forwards and then up. If you want to do it stronger, bringing the whole body in, then coming up. And as you do this movement, see if you can really feel a rolling motion up through the body, up through the spine, starting to feel more of that fluidity of a snake. And now we're going to go to the sides. So again, if you want to do it gently, you can just primarily use the arms, making a big circle to one side, and then a big circle to the other side. And just using the arms, you will start to get that sidewards motion through your spine, starting to gently loosen it, get it moving more freely. And of course you can do it more strongly as well. So if you want to do it more strongly, we bring our whole body in, we lean over, we swing down and come up, getting a stronger opening through the sides of the body, loosening the sides of the spine to one side and the other side. Coming back up to the top. Again, bringing the palms of the hands together, lowering the hands down to the center of the chest. This is where I was going to before when I was saying we've got up to being a tree. And then I thought, oh, we'd better do some of these other snake movements first. So one of the classic snake Qigong movements is called snake creeps down. And it replicates a snake coming out of the tree, coming down out of the tree and then sliding along the ground. That's what we're going to do now. So we start by sinking our legs. Then we turn one hand down. We keep sinking as we open one leg out to the side. And then we slide along the ground. We turn our hips. The rear hand comes over the top of the head. And we reach with both hands, lengthening the body. Then one hand comes down, slides along the ground. We turn our hips. The back hand comes over the top of the head and we lengthen out. So it's like the hand that comes down is the head of the snake. That then draws the shoulder, the back, the hips, the legs, and then finally the tail of the snake comes and joins, and then we swap. So it gets that sequential aspect of the snake movement. Head, shoulder, spine, hips, legs, and then we flow to the other side. So it's this wave of movement, stretching, opening, that comes through the body, one after the other, stretching stretching open. We'll do one more to each side. Last one. And from here, we'll do some snake twists. So we'll do it relatively gently to begin with. You can bring your feet closer if you like. We keep our arms close to each other. They slide next to each other, and we turn behind. We come back to the other side. Arms slide close to each other, and we turn behind, and we get this twist right through our whole body, from our feet up through our ankles, our knees, our hips, our spine, our shoulders. Fluid twisting stimulation through our whole body. If you want to do this more strongly, then you don't have to stand up high like this. You can go straight from the movement that we were doing, have the legs wide, and we come right down low. Makes it a bit of a stronger movement. Feel this twist through all those tissues, developing that ability to twist and turn more easily, much like a snake. And we do some similar movements just for the water element, because they both have, the snake and the water element both have this twisting, turning, flowing quality. One of the things that makes the snake different is this keeping the hands, the arms connected. Gives a different sense through the body. We get that muscular sense of those muscles around the snake as they twist and turn and open. With the water element, we often have the hands more separated, and it creates a somewhat different sensation. Coming back to the center. From here, we're going to keep these hands linked. One hand will now rest by the elbow. We're just going to sway. So as the head of the snake sways, that sway comes back through the whole body. Everything linked together. So we have this gentle, coiling sense that comes all the way from our feet, through our hips, our waist, our lower back, our kidneys, up through our spine, our shoulders, out to our arm, our hand, everything linked together with this coiling snake-like flow. We'll change other hand. Feel that coiling of the snake energy through your whole body. And that snake energy naturally makes the movement through all of the joints of the body fluid. Again, the bones, the joints relating to the water element. And it squeezes our kidneys as it moves through, activating the water element. We'll lower our hands. We'll just stand for a few moments and observe our energy. You might notice a few different things have been stretched and opened and squeezed and so on. And all that stretching, opening, squeezing stimulates different tissues of your body, which then stimulates different aspects of your energy. In particular, within this practice, we've had a lot of focus, well, on the snake, which then focuses on the bones, the joints, particularly the spine, the hips, the knees, the ankles, and then really the kidneys. You might notice, I've had a good massage around my kidneys. You might feel some warmth there, some activity there. That kidney energy flowing more freely, more strongly. And then with our wood element practices, we stimulated some of that rising energy of the wood, and particularly we activated the connective tissues of the body through the sides of the body, making them softer, more supple, not so stiff, so we can have healthy wood energy. From here we're going to settle our energy. We're going to close our practice. So we'll breathe in, raising our arms to the sides, bringing energy up our spine. And breathe out, lowering the hands in front, down the front of our body. So we breathe in, we're circulating energy between the governing vessel and the central vessel, between yang and yin, harmonizing the energy that we've stimulated with our practice into our major flows of energy, integrating it into our system. We inhale, raise up. Exhale, lowering down. One more, inhale. And exhale. Bring your hands onto your body. I think we'll also finish with a little bit of self-massage to make sure that we spread our energy nice and evenly. We'll bring our hands into our lower back. Again, we're going to massage some circles in our lower back, a little bit different from the massaging we did earlier, where we were going up and down. This time, we're just consolidating the energy in the kidneys. And from here, we're going to stroke over our body. So we'll stroke down the back, the outside of our legs. We'll come up the front, the inside. We'll go out the inside of one arm, up the back of the arm, out the inside of the other arm, up the back of the arm, over our face, our head, our neck, down our back, down our legs, coming up the inside of the legs, out one arm, out the other arm. We'll go around our body one more time, down the back of the legs, up the inside, out each arm. Bring your hands into your lower back, then around to the front of your body, underneath your belly button, and your lower abdomen in front of your dantian. And just let all of your energy settle, gathering to your center. Okay, thank you. We will finish the practice part of our session now. If anyone has any questions, you are welcome to send through questions if you have them. Or any just comments before we wrap up the session. We'll give people a few moments. So while I'm waiting, in case anyone has any comments they'd like to add, just out of curiosity, so we are doing a session later today as well. For some of you, depending what time zone you're in, that later session might also be good for you. You might want to join in with that one as well. For some of you, it may not be a great time, depending on your time zone, but that's okay. It will be recorded, so you might want to catch up with it later. So in that later session, we will do largely the same practices, but we'll do the whole series standing. So that first part, instead of sitting down, we'll do it standing, which, it's going to have very similar effects, but you'll notice if you do that session, there are some things that come through a little bit differently. Actually, some things that come through not quite as strongly standing up for those initial practices. They're a little bit stronger sitting down, which is interesting. As I mentioned at the start, sometimes we think of sitting as easier. It's not always easier. Sometimes there's just different things that come through. And particularly if you find it uncomfortable to sit too much, you might really like the standing variation. So that's what we'll do in the later session. Okay, let's see what comments we have. So Rose says, I can really feel it in my spine, a lot of opening, which is great. That's what we expect with snake practices particularly, and that then affects our water element. And of course, having our spine open and moving freely then supports all the rest of the energy through the rest of our body, because all of the nerves come out of the spine. And this relates to some of the qualities of the water element. The water element being the base of our energy that feeds into all of the others. All those nerves coming from the spine, that's sort of some of our base energy feeding into all of the rest of the systems. So Spontaneous Heart says, great to tap into a new animal like the snake. Great, yeah, if you haven't done that before, snake can be fun. There's other parts of the snake practices as well. We just did a few, of course. For starting to bring that snake quality into our body, into our energy, we can explore that further. But I think that was enough for our session today. Other people saying Happy New Year, which is great. So I'm actually in Vietnam at the moment. You might be able to tell from this picture that's in the apartment that I'm in. It's very sort of Vietnamese sort of imagery with the lanterns and the buildings. And so for them, it's very much the new year. This is their new year. The new year on 1st of January is like, yeah, it's not a big thing for them. But, you know, this is the time they have fireworks and they have all the decorations and lights and things. So Rose is asking, is snake better to do in morning or evening? Well, you can do it in either, really. It is going to activate the spine and the kidneys in particular a lot with the snake practices. And there's no harm in doing that either morning or evening. It can be really nice in the morning as a way to, again, it's activating your energy at a very base level and get your spine free and moving and your kidneys active to support your energy through the rest of the day. But there's no reason why you can't do it in the evening either. Whenever you do a practice that is maybe a little bit stronger, and you can do these snake practices in relatively gentle or strong ways, but if you do it in a bit of a stronger way, whenever you do a stronger practice in the evening, you just need to make sure that you spend enough time settling the energy afterwards. So just as we did at the end of our session, standing, self-massage, bringing the hands to the dantian, that all helps to settle the energy. And you might want to just make sure you spend maybe even a little bit of extra time on those sorts of things to make sure the energy is settled before you presumably want to sleep. If you want to be up partying all night after that, fine, doesn't matter. So M. Neiman says, I can feel why snake goes better without legs. Yeah. And Jeannie says, thank you so much, loved it. Will we get a recording of the practice? So so these sessions are automatically recorded. And so we will make that public, so you can see that on the YouTube channel, the Long White Cloud Qigong YouTube channel, or we'll also put a link to it we have a page on the Long White Cloud Qigong website where we're putting information about these live streaming sessions. Because at the moment we're just doing them every now and then, we don't have a regular routine for them. At some point I am hoping to do these regularly on a weekly basis sort of thing, and we'll probably have a subscription for them at that point. But at the moment we're just putting all the information about them there, so we'll put a link to any of the recordings of sessions on that page too, so you can find them easily. Rose says her party days are over. What about tea parties? A nice afternoon tea party. And then Presence in Motion says, what a lovely way to start the year, and wishing a happy new year. Great, lovely. Okay, well look, if there's no more questions, I think we will wrap up the session there. Lovely to see you all, and I'm sure a few more of you will catch the recordings. And again, if you would like to, maybe join the later session or the recording of that. It's going to be very similar, but you will notice some different things come through by doing the practices in a slightly different way. Okay, thanks everyone. We will finish there.